But you also saw how she treated me in the past 2 days. She beat me, scolded me, tried everything she could to torture me, bully me. This is basically killing me. As a sensible person, can't you see who is the wicked person between me and her? If I am as evil as her, do you think she can live to this day? If I'm as evil as her, how could she still be so healthy and even fight me? This proves that I am not as evil as she said, and she is the real evil person. When talking about this, Elaine was in tears, and the whole person was like a street dweller who had suffered great injustice. Seeing that she dared to accuse her, the old Mrs. Wilson walked up to her angrily and slapped her face with a slap. Immediately afterwards, the Lady Wilson grabbed her hair and slammed it against the wall, swearing in her mouth, "You shameless thing! You dare to provoke discord here! You see I won't kill you!" Hearing Elaine's tearful complaint, Jenna also realized at this time that what she said seemed to make sense. Although the Lady Wilson all accused Elaine of being unfilial, and even scolded her to beat her and prevent her from living in the villa of Thompson. But the Lady Wilson didn't look like a person who had been tortured for a long time. She was in good health and strong in spirit, and she was not at all soft in fighting people. So it seems that if Elaine has 10 points for her unfilial piety, then her hatred and revenge for Elaine would have 100 points. Seeing that the Lady Wilson was still fighting Elaine at this time, Jenna felt something was wrong. She immediately said, "Don't fight the Lady Wilson. You are indeed a bit cruel. In any case, you won't drive her to death, right?" Hearing this, Elaine breathed a sigh of relief. It has been almost 2 days since she entered the detention center, and she had long seen that Jenna was the only support for the Lady Wilson here. With Jenna behind her back, she dared to insult and beat herself unscrupulously. If Jenna is no longer supporting her, or even Jenna feels sorry for her and prohibits her from doing anything to herself, then her future life will be really much better. Thinking of this, Elaine continued to cry, "Sister Jenna, you are more sensible. You can tell at a glance, between me and the Lady Wilson, she is not me who really wants to kill each other. She has been thinking push me to death. If you don't do anything again, I might really be tortured to death by this cruel Lady Wilson." Old Mrs. Wilson was a little impatient, and hurriedly blurted out, "Jenna, you must not believe this woman who is talking nonsense. There is no truth in her mouth." Jenna said seriously, "Is there any truth in her mouth? I really don't know, but I'm not blind. It's almost enough for the Lady Wilson if you are enough. After all, you haven't suffered any injuries or physical torture. Why do you want to fix her to death like this?" Old Mrs. Wilson felt a little in her heart. She realized that she had gone too far. Although she has not dealt with the hate in heart yet, her own behavior has already broken Gina's heart balance, making her feel that she is a bit too much. If she doesn't want to do anything, then Gina's inner balance will lean towards Elaine, and then, she will really be passive. Thinking of this, the old Mrs. Wilson hurriedly burst into tears, and pointed to Elaine and complained, "Jenna, you must not be fooled by this wicked woman." As she said, she was so angry that her voice trembled, and she sternly said, "Do you think she is a good person without hitting me? Do you know what she has done to our family? Back then, my son had a very good first-love girlfriend, and was also a very ideal candidate for a daughter-in-law. That girl is really a pretty girl and a sensible girl, so many times better than this shameless woman. At that time, my son was already preparing, and he married someone after he graduated, but do you know what happened just before graduation?" Jenna looked surprised and asked, "What happened?" The old Mrs. Wilson pointed at Elaine and said angrily, "It's this stinky shameless woman. Knowing that our family was well off at the time, she wanted to marry in and be a wife, so she took advantage of my son to be drunk and forced him to follow her. My son had a relationship. Then she told my son's girlfriend about it shamelessly. The woman who finally forced to break up with my son and go abroad. In the end, my son was forced to marry this B*TCH who he didn't love at all. Since then, for more than 20 years, my son has not been happy for a day. My son's marriage is unfortunate, thanks to this B*TCH woman.